Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Transfer Weekly. Yes, it is back. This is now episode number 14, and it is a FRECA special, a special of the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. I'm your host, Chris McCarthy. We could not end Transfer Weekly and not just talk about FRECA. We've got 32 drivers currently signed up for the series. Still 4 spaces left to fill. Last time we did Transfer Weekly, there was just 17 drivers signed up. So we have quite a lot to cover. And here to help me do that, a familiar face to you regular viewers of Transfer Weekly, our FRECA editor, Percy Wolff. Percy, how are you doing?
Very fine. We are here to talk about FRECA, so of course I'm doing really good.
And we can tell. And a familiar voice to you FRECA fans as well, someone you would have heard behind the mic a couple of times. We are welcoming to the series our special guest, George Morgan. George, it's so great to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Chris. And it's just like Percy said, a real good buzz heading into a brand new season, and we're looking forward to it.
So let's run through where we are with the championship so far. So we've had 2 tests so far at Barcelona and Paul Ricard. 32 drivers signed up, so 4 spaces left to fill. 20 nations represented. We have junior drivers from Mercedes, Ferrari and Sauber. Half the field from last year are returning. However, one of those only is a winner, and that is Kaz Havercourt. So that gives us so far 16 new faces, 9 of which are set to contend for the rookie title. But there are still spaces left to fill. One of those comes at our brand new team on the grid, Monolight Racing, who come in to replace FA Racing, and there are also spaces left to fill at G4 Racing and Monolight, but we'll get into the details of that throughout the show. We also have a brand new track. We wave goodbye for now to Monaco, but believe me, that's not bad news, because Hockenheim is coming in to replace it as our season finale, and I had the pleasure of commentating Formula Renault Eurocup there in 2019-2020. Go back and watch that. You'll see familiar faces like Oscar Piastri, Victor Martins, and some of the best single-seater racing you'll ever feel. And add push to pass into that, it's going to be an absolutely fantastic way to close out the season. Right, anyway, enough from me. How this is going to work, we're going to go through team by team in the order they finished in the team's championship last year. So we'll end with Monolight Racing. And these gentlemen with me on this show are going to give their thoughts on how they think each team are lined up so far. So let's start with our reigning teams and drivers champion, shall we? Prema Racing. All 3 of their drivers from last season have graduated to FIA Formula 3, so they bring in 3 brand new faces for this year. 2 of them brand new to the championship. First up, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. He graduates to the series from F4. He is a Mercedes junior, and some of you will recognize him from his success over in the Formula Regional Middle East Championship, many tipping him to go and win the championship already. A familiar teammate to him and another driver jumping up with him is Rafael Camara. He raced with Prema in F4 last year as well, did very well, and he's also a member of the Ferrari Driver Academy. So once again, a Mercedes and Ferrari junior at Prema, and they also have a driver stepping across from R-Race GP. That is Lorenzo Flukes at his 3rd season, so hoping for big things. He finished 12th last year. George, I'm going to come to you for this one. No pressure, Prema Racing. How do you think they are lined up for this season?
I think they look exceptionally strong. I think coming off the back of signing someone with the reputation of Andrea Kimi Antonelli, for such a young man, he carries such a weight of not just strength and ability, but also rewards as well. He has delivered many grandiose results, successful start to his career, obviously in single seaters, Italian F4 race wins, championships. He oozes talent, and I think to have someone like him in your team, I think, is a statement more than anything else. Especially when you've almost got to step up a gear, I suppose, since taking the championship the year before. A very, very competitive grid. I've also got to give a hat tip as well to Rafael Camara as well, who certainly looks like a wonderful talent himself. Looking forward to seeing how he gets on, but just the squad in itself looks brilliant. Lorenzo Flux almost brings the experience, I think, to the table, and the fact that I think that there's 2 drivers there that could probably learn a lot from him in terms of how this championship works. So I'd say they're in pretty safe hands, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Lorenzo Flukes carries that team or if it works the other way around. I mean, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, 4 single-seater titles to his name already. Will we get a fifth this season? That's going to be a great inter-team battle there. But there are 11 other teams on the grid. Let's get to the next of them then. R-Race GP. They took 5 wins and 13 podiums last season, and they've signed 3 new drivers for this year. One of those is a graduate. 2 of those we know from the championship already. Let's start with Tim Tramnitz, one of the big rookies last year. He's come across from Trident for his second season. He finished 15th overall last year. Another driver who has switched teams is Matheus Zagazeta. He is signed to R-Race GP from G4 Racing. May have been a bit of a quiet figure last year, but that might not be the case this season. Finished every single race cleanly last year. Was one of very few drivers to do that. And then a new face to the championship, Martinius Stenshorn, who comes up from Italian F4. Right, Percy, let's get your thoughts. What are you thinking on R-Race GP?
What I love with R-Race lineup is that all 3 drivers could be dark horses for the drivers or rookie title. It may not be the strongest trio of drivers, but these are 3 drivers with a lot of potential, with experience, which creates a homogeneous lineup that will help them to fight for the team's title. We could consider Tramnitz had an underwhelming rookie year with Trident in 2022, but it would be quite unfair to judge the double runner-up of ADAC and Italian F4 on last year, as he has been injured during the whole season because of a nasty crash in post-season testing. And now he has completely recovered from this back injury, and he seems to be in good position to fight regularly for podiums and maybe even for wins. He's the natural leader of the team, and even if it will be hard against Avercourt, against the Premas, of course, I believe he has a chance for the title. And moreover, he has been really strong in pre-season testing at Barcelona. We've got also Matheus Zagazeta, who could be a good surprise, I think, after a complicated rookie year in a team, G4 Racing, that struggled a lot. Let's not forget that he's a British F4 runner-up, so we can't underestimate him. And I think he could do something a bit like Owen Tangavelu when he left G4 Racing mid-season for RPM. I think this team change could help Zagazeta to perform strongly. And finally, we have one rookie, Martinius Stenshorn from Norway, who is clearly one, if not the favorite for the rookie title after being the best driver for Vanaramas Racing in Italian F4, finishing 7th overall. So it was really a solid effort from him. And since the end of 2022, he has been one of the most impressive drivers in testing.
Great stuff and great insight, as always, Percy. I mean, I've got to say as well, one of the best looking cars as well with Zagazeta, but that was quite a statement Tramnitz put down over in Barcelona, going quickest in testing. Right, let's move on to ART Grand Prix. Of course, they won the title in 2021 with Gregoire Saucy. 3 wins and 10 podiums last year, taking Gabriele Mini to become vice champion. They keep one of the drivers they had last year. That is Laurens van Hopen. He's back for a second season, his second full season really in single seaters. Did very well last year. Let's see how he goes this year. I think he'll be looking to try and push for the title. One of the new faces to the championship and the team is Charlie Wirtz. He comes up from F4, but many of you might know him from winning that Formula Regional Oceania Championship. And then a new face to the championship, another new one, Marcus Armand as well, who graduates from F4, recently signed to the Sauber Academy. George, what do you make of this one? I mean, quite a lot of potential in that team, isn't there?
Yeah, and you look at ART, they are a team built to win too. I mean, they've come off the back of having a driver like Gabriele Mini in the team, as well as the likes of Gregoire Saucy, who of course performed valiantly himself in the year that he was in FRECA, has since gone on to do great things in FIA, F3, and now, of course, moving onwards and upwards, should we say, through the feeder series. But Laurens van Hopen, I think, returning as well. I think obviously a stunning display, I think, in testing so far as well, going quickest. Not to mention Charlie Wirtz, son of a legacy of Alexander Wirtz, of course, back in Formula One, of course, taking 3 podiums in his career. Surely, not that it necessarily suggests that a young driver will go on and do great things, but I think already from the likes of Charlie Wirtz, we're seeing some real strong promise from him. So, we'll see whether ART can unlock more of that. Marcus Armand, I think, is a great driver too. Obviously stepping up here in FRECA as well, and looking forward to seeing how he gets on. Obviously still blossoming in his career, but this is great. This is a great chance for him to sort of write on a blank slate and potentially show some greatness as well.
I think ART have shown how quickly they can get drivers up to speed, haven't they, as well? So it's going to be really exciting to watch those two. Let's move next to Vanaramas Racing. What a year they had last year. Took 2 wins and 8 podiums. And they keep the 2 drivers that helped them to that. First of all, Kaz Havercourt, he's in for a 2nd season with the team and 3rd overall in FRECA. Comes in as the top seed after finishing 5th last year. And the 2nd highest seed is going to be one of his teammates, Josh Tuvek, who came so close to winning the rookie title, missing out by 4 points. And then we have a new face to the championship, Niels Kuhlen. However, he has been racing over in the Middle East with them. So not a new face to the championship, Percy, or to the team, shall I say.
Yeah, I think this has to be a breakthrough year for Vanaramas Racing in FRECA, because I believe this could be the year finally where Vanaramas closes the gap with the 3 top teams ahead. And to fulfill this objective, as you said, they have 2 very talented drivers who will fight for wins probably, and maybe even for the title. As Paul Aron or Adrian David last year, Kaz Havercourt would have deserved to go to FIA F3 this year. But as the Estonian or the Frenchman, he has fallen short of budget, and he will try to go and get the FRECA title in his 3rd season in the category. So the Dutchman has constantly been improving himself, already regularly fighting for top position. Last year, he got 2 wins, as you said. And since the end of 2022, he has been one of the most impressive drivers in testing. And he has a big advantage of experience. It should help him, especially at the start of the season, where he will have to score a maximum of points very quickly before rookies start catching up their deficit, their lack of experience. And alongside him, we've got Joshua Dufek, who had an impressive end of 2022, fighting with champion Dino Beganovic, Gabriele Mini, Paul Aron, etc. He had the most blistering progression throughout the whole season, hardly fighting for points at the beginning, then top 5, and then podiums and wins. So he could have also deserved a shot at FIA F3 this year, I believe. But I'm glad he came back to FRECA this year to get the title and or beat his teammate Kaz Havercourt. So the duel between these two is going to be really spicy. And alongside them, we have got a rookie driver, Niels Kuhlen, who will have a lot to learn coming from F4. So I think he will do his best to learn from his 2 experienced teammates.
And we saw arguably the best performance, the best win ever, didn't we, from Kaz in Red Bull Ring when he came from about 16th to win. And Josh Dufek did kind of similar progress and came through to finish 2nd. What a day that was for the team. Okay, let's move to Trident then. They were new to the championship last year, but now in their 2nd season, they keep 2 drivers who are also in their 2nd season. One of those drivers being a driver who raced with them last year and got them on the podium at Hungary, and that is Roman Belinsky. He's coming back, and he's going to be looking to add to those podiums. We've also got Owen Tangavelu, who's going to be making the switch from RPM. He finished his season over there. He's coming back for a 2nd season, and he's going to do that with Trident. Ended his season with his best result as well, and a rookie win at Mugello. And then we have a new face to the championship, Nikhil Bora, who graduates from Italian at F4, joining Trident. Of course, they won the rookie title last year. They'll look to do the same this year. A great lineup there for Trident, isn't it, George, overall? And good to see they've kept hold of a very strong driver there in Roman Belinsky.
Yeah, and a great character as well. I think in the paddock, always a great young man to talk to, Roman Belinsky. I know we spent quite some time with him in the paddock during last season as well. But Nikhil Bora as well. No, Singaporean made a single-seater debut in ADAC Formula 4. Obviously looking forward to perhaps starting a re-season campaign in European action. We'll have to wait and see how he gets on. But Owen Tangavelu, 3 different teams in 2 seasons, obviously making the switch from G4 over to RPM. I think that's a fascinating story to see how he develops after finishing so strongly at the end of last season. And I think he scored points in like 5 times in 9 races towards that end as well. So correct, that's a pretty solid effort from him. So I think surely a new team like Trident, they've got quite a good sort of line of heritage, certainly in the feeder series system, certainly in F2, F3, and now in FRECA as well. It's very exciting. And if Belinsky can keep on pulling out performances like he did in race 1 at Hungary, I think he's going to be in with a great shape.
And it was interesting, actually, just quickly. I remember going down to the podium and seeing Owen Tangavelu receive his trophy for being top rookie, but he gave off the impression to me that that was nowhere near enough. He wanted to be on the podium. So he's going to be fighting for nothing less than race wins. Believe me, it's going to be very exciting to watch. Okay, let's move from the Italian team over to the Dutch team and MP Motorsport. Now, they come in with the most experience. They've got 3 drivers who all raced in the championship last year. Not all of them did full campaigns. Let's start with Sami Megatunev. He stays with the team for a second full season in FRECA. Then we have Delano Vanhoff, another driver who stays with them for a second season. His season affected by injury after an incident at Monaco last year. And then we have Victor Bernier, ended last year incredibly strong, and he transfers over by the former FA Racing to MP. Percy, what do you make of this?
Yeah, in a team that has lacked of consistency during last year, stability will be the key of MP 2023 lineup, with Megatunev and Vanhoff coming back for a second year at MP, and Victor Bernier coming from the sister team FA Racing, who are the technical support from MP. All these 3 drivers lived pretty similar seasons, stepping on podiums, but also getting very few point entries. So they will all be entering in their second FRECA year, and they will have to become consistent finally, unlike last season. Sami Megatunev has already showed this year how quick he could be, with a splendid win in Formula Regional Middle East in Kuwait, and also 2 pole positions. Delano Vanhoff is finally recovering from the injury he sustained earlier last year. We know how good he can be. Let's not forget he has absolutely dominated Spanish F4 back in the days. And we have also Victor Bernier, who ended brilliantly 2022 with really strong qualifying performance in Barcelona, in Mugello, and taking a podium there. So yeah, these 3 brilliant young drivers have the potential to do wonders, but that need to put everything together at the right moment. And yeah, this will be the main target for them.
Oh, believe it or not, we're only halfway through the team. Six down, still 6 more to go. Let's keep moving on, shall we? Let's go to British team, Arden Motorsport next. They keep 1 driver from last year. They'll be very happy to keep him as well, and that is Joshua Dirks. Stays with them for another season. Got plenty of points for them last year. They've got a transfer in Levi Ravesh, who comes over from Vanaramas Racing for his second season. We'll be hoping for a better year. And then Tom Leben, we've got a graduate from the GB3 Championship. Had a great season there with Elite Motorsport. He comes in to the series as well, and be hoping for some good things there, George. I mean, that's a good lineup, and particularly good to see Joshua Dirksen staying.
Yeah, again, I talk about great characters. He's one of them too. I mean, Arden have got a great driver there in the Paraguayan. I think, honestly, he has a great chance to certainly deliver some great results for them. Ravesh as well, I think, is a very shrewd signing as well for Arden. He's very experienced across various different championships. Of course, the Middle East sector as well he's been part of. I believe he is going to be racing with RACE GP, actually, at the moment in the Middle Eastern Championship before returning to Arden for this season's FRECA Championship too. So he'll be very seasoned by the time April rolls around. Another driver, Tom Leben. I mean, you alluded to his stats are very impressive in GB3. First season finishing 9th in the championship, but instantly hitting with a 3rd place in the 2022 season as well, which just shows that he's got that turn of foot to improve on previous season's results. Be very intriguing to see how he gets on this season.
He's just going to have one challenge. It's learning the tracks, isn't it? And we've seen the likes of Roman Belinsky and Alex Quinn having to do the same thing, but they both did that fairly well. And I'm confident, knowing from Tom Leben from his karting days, that he can do that very well as well. Okay, let's go to another team who's been very impressive, I have to say, in testing so far, and that is RPM. It's going to be their second season racing in FRECA as well. They come in to this with 2 drivers who have raced in the championship already. One of those has been extremely quick in testing, and that is Maceo Capietto. He transfers over from Monolight, a very exciting signing for the team. Of course, had a great history in French F4. Then we have Santiago Ramos, the Mexican, has come over from KIC Motorsport to race with the team, and I think he would have been very excited with that one. And flying at the Irish flag for Keith Donegan is going to be Adam Fitzgerald, who steps up from British F4 to join the team. He was also down racing in New Zealand a little earlier this year in Formula Regional Oceania. Percy, what do you make of this? I mean, particularly in testing, RPM looked like arguably the dark horses this season.
Yeah, I think we all agree that RPM was undoubtedly the biggest surprise of testing, but also of last year's FRECA grid, because it was a new team with new colors, a new director. Nobody expected them to climb the hierarchy so quickly. But Pierre-Louis Chauvet and also Owen Tangavelou showed how much speed could have RPM. Both drivers installed the team as a very exciting project for young drivers. I've been longing to see the combination, this combination during the whole off season, but Maceo Capieto has been eventually confirmed to RPM after he got very strong performances with the little squad Monolight. The Frenchman will be stepping up with a better team, and I believe that his technical feedback could also help RPM to continue in the right direction. He has been very, very impressive in testing, topping several sessions, but he will have to look for Santiago Ramos, who was very discreet last year with Kic Motorsport, but who looks to be loving the environment at RPM. He has been regularly fighting for top 10 and even more. So this is only testing, of course, but it definitely looked really, really promising. So Ramos had also done the final round last year with RPM, where he showed some great progress compared to the rest of the season. Yeah. And finally, the Irish director, Keith Donegan, was eager to bring an Irish driver to the team, and he has managed to do so with Adam Fitzgerald coming from British F4. Fitzgerald will have to learn from his teammates, but he has already showed some signs of progress. So yeah, let's see how it turns out for him.
Yeah, 2 cars in the top 10 in both tests so far, so well done to them. You mentioned Monolight Racing. Let's go to them next. They've filled 2 of their 3 seats so far. One of those, Enzo Scionti, is going to be representing the American flag. So good to have an American with us now. We have one in Formula 1 as well. And Giovanni Maschio as well also comes into the championship, jumping up from Italian F4 as well. So only 2 seats filled there so far, but 2 drivers who will want to fight for the rookie win, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Enzo Scionti himself, obviously with experience in Euro Formula Open, of course, might go his way as well in some degree. Obviously, back in 2021, finishing 14th overall with DriveX in that particular championship fight. Obviously, different chassis this time. They're going to be jumping in the Tartus, so it'll be interesting to see how he adapts to that. But does have experience in UAE F4 as well. So 43 points in 20 races certainly doesn't go amiss. So he can score the numbers. I think another driver as well, Giovanni Maschio as well, coming into this, debuted in single seaters in 2022 as well in Formula 4. Obviously, again, a little bit of a blank slate, but still something to build on. But did win, I believe, at Monza in the Formula X Pro Series, finishing 3rd in the first race as well, and race 2. Also racing around the Italian Sport Prototype Series as well. So he has got very good adaptabilities as a racer. We'll have to see whether that can transfer across into FRECA cars.
Oh, good stuff. Well, 3 more to go, guys. We must move quickly. Let's go to Kic Motorsport next. They are going to be keeping a trim by bringing 3 new drivers in once again to the team and the series. So Maya Verg, first of all, she comes up from Italian F4. Had a great season with Iron Dames last year. Great to have her in the championship. Shannon Legassi as well, the Swedish driver, also coming, the Swiss driver, sorry, also coming into the series from the Ultimate Cup Series. And Alex Partishev as well from Ukraine will be jumping up from Italian F4, where he raced with Genza. So 3 new faces there, Percy, but not 3 drivers we shouldn't look past.
Yeah, Kic had a very difficult year in 2022, not scoring any points. And for the 2nd year in a row, they will be trusting 3 rookie drivers, with 2 of them, Shannon Legassi and Alexander Partishev, who have being very inexperienced. So it's hard to be positive for the Finnish squad. However, they have signed Ferrari junior Maya Verg, 14 of Italian F4 last year, who is undoubtedly one of the best young female drivers in FIDA series. She was originally supposed to be the 4th Premier driver in FRECA, but she had to change her plans following the limitation of 3 cars per team. And she has shown she had the pace to constantly fight for points in Italian F4. Post-season testing last year was very encouraging with several top 10s. She has been a little more discreet in the official pre-season testing this month. So yeah, let's see how it turns out for her, but she will do her best to maybe target a FRECA seat with Prema in 2024.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. Really great to have her in the series. We'll see how she goes. Right, let's move to G4 Racing then. They only have one seat filled so far for this season, so two to fill. But I think they're going to be very, very pleased with the person they've got in this car, particularly after the results he put in testing. Alessandro Giusti is in the car. Be corrected straight away by Percy. I think I get a nod there from him. He comes in as the French F4 champion. We're keeping a trend of bringing in French F4 champions. Beat Hugh Barter to the series there, to the title there, and did very, very well in testing, didn't he, George? So I think G4 will be very pleased with this.
Very exciting prospect for G4. I think if you've got one driver confirmed, I think so far for the season, he's the one you want. I think to really get the ball rolling. So someone like GST, who has obviously shown his promise in French F4, also capturing the junior crown the year prior in 2021 as well. So he's got a good trend of getting the big results. I think obviously it's a great exciting time for him, jumping in a car such as this, in a championship such as this, against various great talents. Obviously, we've got to find out as to who he's going to be teamed with. But I think given the fact that he's already achieved so much in the F4 championships, bodes very well for a team like G4. Great place to build on. So I'm sure he'll do well.
Yeah, top rookie and very comfortably as well out in Barcelona in testing. So well done to G4. And let's hope they get those two seats filled. Let's end then with our new team on the grid, French team, Saint-Eloi Racing. Fairly new to single-seater racing still. They have a GT background. But they have one driver who is not new to FRECA, and that is Nico Baptiste, the Colombian, has come across from FA Racing. So they've got some experience straight away there. And that will help his teammate, 16-year-old Emo Fittipaldi, comes up from Italian F4, really shooting through the single-seater pecking order. They're great to have him in the championship, and great to have them as a team in the championship, isn't it, Percy?
Yeah, sure. This is really a very exciting addition to the championship. And as every time when there is a team change, it raises questions, it raises expectations. The team is one of the most successful GT teams and has decided to enter single-seaters last year only, starting with Spanish F4 with a project led by Charles Leclerc's former advisor, Morgan Caron, and Kimi Raikkonen's race engineer, Julien Simon-Chotan. By entering Spanish F4 mid-season, they have claimed multiple points finishes since, and they have quickly showed they could easily become the third or fourth best team of the series. However, FRECA represents a much bigger challenge, especially with two drivers that still have to prove themselves. Nicolas Baptiste will be the expected leader of the team after a first year with FA Racing, where he has finished all but one race, unfortunately without scoring any points, even if it came quite close at the final round at Mugello. And alongside him, there will be former Sauber junior driver Emo Fittipaldi. He could have well done a second year to get in Italian F4 to get more prepared. Instead, he will be the youngest driver of the FRECA grid. It will be interesting to see how quickly the last son of Emerson Fittipaldi adapts to this car that is known to be difficult to handle physically, especially for rookies.
Yeah, I remember seeing Emo Fittipaldi back in 2015 when he first started karting, and he came to the UK and raced in Wales at Glanigors, George.
No better place.
Formula Car Stars, and his dad was pushing him down to the grid on the trolley. It was absolutely fantastic. We're going to have to wrap up there because we are quite literally on a time limit. Some of you might not know that. So testing has gone very well so far. I mean, the top 25 within 1 second. Rafael Camara quickest at Paul Ricard. Tim Tramnitz quickest over at Barcelona. But I've set both of these guys a challenge, and I'm going to ask you guys to do the same in the comments below. What I want both these guys to do is give me a champion and a team that's impressed them most from testing. You're going to have to keep your answers brief, guys, but I'm going to start with you, Percy. I want your team impressed you the most and your champion for 2023 of FRECA.
I will start with the champion. I think I will go for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. It may not be really original, but he has been so impressive in F4. He has been so impressive in Formula Regional Middle East, and he has been impressive in testing. So yeah, I can only go for Andrea Kimi Antonelli. For the team, it's more complicated. In testing, there have been a lot of teams that have impressed me. I will go for our race. I will go for our race because they have been consistent with the three drivers that could fight for top 10. While in some other teams, it was more one driver performing or two drivers performing. In our race, I have the real feeling that there is a real team cohesion. And our race has impressed me the most.
Over to you, George. Who do you think? You can go whatever order you want, champion or team that's impressed you most.
I'll tell you what, because otherwise again, I'm going to probably bore a few people by probably picking the same champion as Percy. I'm going to first start with my team that's impressed. Obviously, ART, I think have a great history in terms of developing great talent and have done so immensely well in FRECA through the years. I like what I'm seeing from Lawrence Van Hoopen at the moment. Of course, he set a fastest time in pre-season testing as well, and I'm really keen to see how he gets on, to see whether this is his year to finally shoot for the stars. I hope he does, and I hope the rest of the team do too. You've got the likes of Charlie Wirtz and of course Marcus Amann there as well. Great squad. In terms of the champion, you just can't turn this guy down. Andrea Kimi Antonelli for me has got to be the champ. As to whether that is, well, sorry to bore you folks. That's the way I see it.
Well, you're not alone. I mean, I think it was an article that Will Buxton put out there. People expect him to be in F1 in about 5 years. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's going to be a fantastic season, isn't it? I mean, if we can spend this long talking about it, then I don't think there's any excuse not to watch it. And thankfully for myself and George, we'll be there. But thank you so much for joining me, guys, on the show. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you both.
Well, it's a pleasure, Chris. Thank you ever so much for having us. Or me in person. Not sure whether Percy was.
It has been a pleasure for me to talk to you guys. So so excited for this FRECA year. Can't wait to get it started.
Now, guys, leave your answers on your champion and team that's impressed you most in the comments below. I don't have to answer because I asked them. So there you go. Do subscribe, do like, and do check out the podcast as well. We had Frederick Vesti on recently as well after that fantastic drive out in Saudi Arabia. So make sure you go and check that out. That's going to be going out all the time with Jim Kimberley hosting. That's been all for Transfer Weekly. It will be back next season. Don't worry about that. This has been the FRECA special. The season kicks off in Imola on the 22nd and 23rd of April. Until then, from all of us, it's goodbye.